Caleb. This little intro song is from an album I put out a couple years ago called Harvest Home. And it's available on caleb.bandcamp.com. One more time, that is caleb@bandcamp.com. Hey everybody, welcome to our weekly online show from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock Pacific time. My name is Caleb, and today we have my sidekick Joe and a special guest, Georgann, Ireland. So without further ado, and by the way, we have chat room open on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. And if you type in any of those platforms, it should appear here, but it looks like only Facebook is showing up this week. Every week, it's a new experience in online podcasting and what technology works and what doesn't. We have improved cameras. We have a new front camera here that's high resolution, and then our side cam we got fixed. And so not only did we have improved audio last week, we have improved video this week, and we're going to be adding some extra lighting, daytime lighting, in the coming week. But for now, it was kind of foggy outside, so I went ahead and kicked on the stage lights. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Joe. I've got to unmute him here. Oh, okay, good. It looks like he's already unmuted. Let's bring on Joe. Hey, Joe, how are you doing?
Good, Caleb. How's things? How's things up north?
Doing fine up here. You know, it's staying cool in the 60s to mid 70s, and we're occasionally having some sunlight. Seattle area is not always fogged in, as you're told, but we don't really have summer. I like to say we go right from winter to spring to fall.
Yeah, our air has improved a bit from the fires that we've had down here. There's a marked improvement. We can breathe a lot easier. There was some remnant of sunlight earlier today. The fog is starting to come in a little bit, our typical rain layer at this time of the year for Northern California. And Berkeley is right lined up with the Golden Gate Bridge. So, of course, we have a little bit more of our share of fog than everyone else.
Did that help with the smoke?
Yes, it does, especially the onshore breezes and whatnot. It makes it a little more palatable. And when it's foggy enough by morning, it rains under the trees. The trees are saturated with moisture to where it rains under the trees, of all things.
Well, that definitely has to be an improvement. I know, I think it's been now 24, maybe up to 48 hours where my friends in Russian River were able to go back home, and they said that everything was intact, but they actually could see there were burnt leaves on the roof of the house. So my thoughts go out to everybody out there in California who are dealing with the fires, and hopefully that they get taken care of and you're able to get back to your homes.
Absolutely. I got friends in Santa Cruz, Ben Lomond and whatnot, hopefully, and Boulder Creek. Hopefully they can go get back to their homes as soon as possible.
Yeah, my understanding last week was there were fires on both the southwest and the Santa Cruz Mountains and on the east side in the Mount Hamilton area. So it was pretty bad down in San Jose.
Absolutely, but it's a higher percentage of contained fires at this point. I think down by Ben Lomond and Boulder Creek is almost 35% contained, and so with any luck, people can start returning home soon. Everyone that I know is safe at this time, but I'm hoping their homes are intact when they're able to get back to their places of where they live. I myself am among the fortunate, so my thoughts are toward others.
Now, you still said you had a lot of smoke. I know a buddy of mine down in San Jose, Tim, he said it was like, being on Mars. It was just all day long. It was red, dusty. You can't really see the sky. Were there fires up by where you are in the Berkeley Hills?
Not in the Berkeley Hills, no. But we would have reddish sunsets, yes. Our sunsets have all but disappeared now, thankfully, because of the fog. I'm sure if I went to San Rafael, we'd be able to see some remnants of sunset. The moon is almost full at this point, but you wouldn't know it for all the fog. the fog has been a saving grace this past few days.
Good to know you're safe, and everybody you know down there in Santa Cruz are safe as well. So far, I haven't heard of anybody losing their home that I know, but I know that there are people who did, and certainly properties that historical properties that have been lost. And my heart goes out to folks. And a shout out for all the firefighters and all the bureaucratic services that we have to help with fires, both locally and across the state, that allows California to manage the situation. It's if you're not from California, it's kind of hard to describe to people, but the state is semi-arid, desert and grasslands. So you got hot summers and dry grass over a lot of the state, and so it's very, very easy to have forest fires. In fact, my understanding growing up, it's also a natural part of the life cycle of a lot of the forests. They have to have firefighters to breed new trees and whatnot, and for the pine cones to open. It's just a challenge because us human beings are now intertwined with everything.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, I want to move on to, I'm going to say hello to one other person. We got a couple more people here pop in saying hi. And in fact, Frank is here over on YouTube. And for folks, as a reminder, if for some reason you don't want to use Facebook, Sunday Live is available on the YouTube channel and the Caleb YouTube channel, and also on the Audio Terrace Twitch channel. So this week, our guest is Georgann Ireland, artist, singer, songwriter, and producer. I met Georgann through my friend Ed Clare, and they have a recording studio in Richmond called Studio Noir that unfortunately I think the physical location had to shutter its doors due to COVID-19, but they are, I'm sure, soldiering on in music production. And I asked Ed to be on several of my music panels for Balanced Breakfast. I'm wearing my Balanced Breakfast hoodie today, do a little promo for that. And at our music conference, which unfortunately I do not think is going to happen this year, so this would have been the third year. And through Ed, met Georgann and asked her to be on the show, and she graciously said yes. So I'd like to bring Georgann on right now. Hey, Georgann, let's see.
Hi.
Hey, cool.
You hear me?
You're unmuted. I can hear you.
Great.
So
Thanks
welcome
for
for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
I see you have a ring over there, the famous ring. I'm told I should buy one.
There's a reason that they are used by all the people that do the makeup tutorials. Ed and I, since the studio had to shut down because of COVID, we started getting really heavily involved in creating a YouTube channel. And so, of course, as part of that, we have to use a ring light. So we went from the Nova Noir studio, like hands-on music stuff, to Big Music Energy, where we tell people how we got into the music industry and give them tips on how to better themselves and actually make it in this tough industry.
We should, before the show ends, maybe during one of your songs, send me the link to, I'll look it up while you're doing a song, and I'll post it in the comments for folks. So folks, watch for Big Music Energy, is it called?
Yeah, Big Music Energy.
Big Music Energy. That's great. That's a great example of where people are adapting to this lockdown situation and taking all of the talent that they have from a physical space, where there's a stage, a recording studio, and porting that online and making that available to people.
And, it's actually been really fun. And what's really neat is that, our channel has slowly been growing. We finally got to the point where you get to customize your YouTube URL.
Yay.
Yeah. So we hit that just like, I want to say a month ago now. So wow, time is flying. But it's been a lot of fun to do. And then also, you know, when you read the comments, and I did one on co-writing, and I remember someone commented, "Thanks for this information. I have my first co-writing session tomorrow." Like, just to know that that what you're putting out is actually helping people, it's great. It's great to know that.
It's that impact part. I was managing the Seattle Balanced Breakfast group here and building that up since I moved up in November. And then, yeah, all this hit, and suddenly there was Noah going out and there's no momentum, and everybody, I found in Seattle, most people are face-to-face folks. Online folks, can't get them to show up to a live session, and you set up a online thing and most folks won't join in there. Whereas San Francisco, it's very interesting. San Francisco group was like piled online 5 minutes, you know, into all of this. So thinking about that, that's part of why I created the Sunday Live show, is to say, you know, find those online folks and bring them into an experience where they can be still connecting with bands and artists, and also, if they're musicians themselves, that we can be interacting. And just to let folks know, while the Seattle group didn't take off online as an individual group, because there is a strong following internationally, the few of us who like being online, talking about music and our art, do look at the Balanced Breakfast Facebook page. There are now like monthly listening events going on, and other cocktail party events and stuff like that to join in on. So your channel's taken off as well, and you're having that influence, and much like me, you're getting this feedback of, hey, this is great, this is helping me keep my wheels going, or put, you know, new puzzle pieces in there. What is your experience with being online during COVID yourself, not just as an artist putting yourself out there, but as a viewer?
As a viewer, you know, to be completely honest, I don't spend a lot of time online because I've always I'm one of those people that I'd rather be outside hiking or riding my horse or writing music. But I do know that there is I will watch artists that I know. I know this one group, Delphi Freeman, they do live streams about 3 times a week now.
Wow.
They do, yeah. And they are killing it. Whenever I show up, there's a good amount of people there watching them. And just seeing that and seeing other artists that I just know from the communities, when I see them grow on these streaming apps and channels, it's reassuring to know that you can actually go out there and stream yourself. And it's just a matter of time before you find the right people that are interested in the content that you're putting out.
Yeah, I hear you there. What I'm seeing now in this area is a lot more online shows happening. Like you said, at first it was more festivals where there are a lot of different artists who were trying to figure out the technology. But it seems like folks have really ramped up in the technology, and they're doing quite innovative shows just streaming. Yeah,
there are tons of people streaming now. You know, I've seen artists set up, designated streaming spaces where they look like they're on a stage. They set up the lights, they've basically recreated the live venue feel in their live streams. And I think that that's probably why they do so well, is because people like live shows. They like going to venues, right? And so if you can recreate that experience for people, I think that they want to keep coming back.
That's a very good point. Speaking of live, I understand you're going to play some live songs for us today.
Yeah,
and,
I am.
And then after that, we will talk some more, and then we're going to show a trailer. And then we'll have some more live music. And we'll just kind of keep doing the live music thing until the after party. That's when we're out of time for the main part of the show. And I have sequenced up the Whiskey and Rye video and the Stranger Lyric video for the after party.
Oh my gosh.
I
made those so long ago.
I'm like, she didn't mention these. Let's do a YouTube search. Oh yeah, she's got some stuff out there. She's being coy.
Those I did those so long ago, and although I don't think that they represent who I am as an artist now, what they did for me was they caught the attention of people who then were able to help me on my music journey. So I keep them and I think of them very fondly because like that was kind of the like stepping, like that was the first point of like where I've gone with my music career.
Well, think of yourself like any artist that develops over time. You're always going to have an earlier period that is something different.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you shouldn't share it. I know it's become more of a trend nowadays for artists to be very targeted, very specific and genre set. But I grew up during an era where the Beatles had kind of blown all that away. And when you listen to an album, you'd get an instrumental, you'd get a rock song, you would get a ballad. I think the Beatles' White Album just kind of opened up the doors for a lot of artists certainly in the 70s. I still think going into the 80s where you had this sort of combination of types of tracks that were on an album versus a single that sits in a groove. So I say keep it out there for folks who are Bowie fans who go back and see his documentary film or promo film called Love You Till Tuesday, and you're like, whoa, this is very different. He's doing mime work and stuff like that. But as a fan, you want to get that depth of an artist and where they came from and their background. So when I saw only 33 subscribers on that channel, I thought, you're being shy. So I think you should build up that channel, get more subscribers, get your custom URL. Just tell all your friends and family to subscribe to you and get that first 100 so you can put your name up there before someone else takes it.
That's true. I've actually had someone steal my name already on not like a main music site, but literally like there's this one person, I know who he is because he's kind of like a fan who like made a music account on not Reverb Nation, but it sounds a lot like that. He like took my name and put it there. And I was like, oh my God.
That's another thing. If you have a name that someone else has and they don't know better, or they may be in a different retail space, like a friend of mine, a band I'm helping up here, their name, 2 other bands in the United States have that name, but they're just live bands. They're not a recording artist. So he lucked out there that anything related to recordings is available. But I've ran into this with Caleb a couple times, and I've had to go to bat and fight for it. And with Audio Terrorist, I had to trademark it with the United States government so that I can push back at other people trying to use the name. Sometimes it's innocent. People don't know. Oh, that's already taken. I mean, it really takes a moment to do a Google search and see, oh, this person's had this name for 35 years, but whatever. That aside, also what happens is fans. I just have a software company I'm helping run one of the products. A fan created a site, like you said, and they used the name. And when I went to go create the official group, it was taken. So we negotiated and chatted, and they had 12 members and they're fans. I said, I'd like to make this the official site, and we worked our way through it. So sometimes you can just talk with the person and they'll go, oh, okay, I understand, and partner with them. And it may be, hey, I want to make this the official site. Would you be the site manager as the fan? So you give me access, username and password, so I know I can access this site, but maybe they then help you run the site, and that's a nice exchange there. But ideally, it'd be great to get the name as soon as possible. And I did a steeplechase for many years where I would just, every time a new online service would come, I would just open an account, even if I didn't know how to use it.
I'm literally about to just make an account on all social medias, all music related stuff, even if I don't use it, just so that I own it.
Yeah, and with Facebook, you have pages and you have groups. So that's 2 right there. And then YouTube, you have the seed channels, which I think they've now standardized with everything. If you distribute through CD Baby, you can then tie it back to CD Baby as an official channel and create a link there. But with Apple Music, you've got to go talk to them and show them. You have to show them your YouTube channel. You have to show them your website to prove that you're the one who's really leveraging that name. So that's my big speech. Go out there, get your 100 users on your Georgann Ireland YouTube channel. That's this week. That's your goal this week.
Watching this show, go subscribe to my YouTube channel.
There you go.
In Ireland.
If you guys like the video, click subscribe. It really helps artists authenticate what they're doing out to other sites. And so there's this interconnection where one piece shows enough viewers, then the next you're credible to have that brand on other platforms. Well, having said all that, let's hear what you're about.
Okay. Play you a song that I can be like, this is who I am as an artist. Make sure it's nice and tuned. So this is kind of a fun song. Not necessarily because the subject matter is fun, but because when I was writing it, it's called Vinyl. And I went in search of all my mom's old records so that I could take them out, and I laid them all over the floor looking for inspiration, just little words to write this song. It's called Vinyl. Another penny on the vinyl, put the needle down as if the sound could bring you back to me. Sitting in your shirt on the floor, that skip in the groove reminds me of you, and I dropped it. Slipped right through my fingertips. You changed your key and locked me out of your life. You played me, and now I need this player to save me. It takes me back just like that. I hear your laugh echo in my head. Let me forget. Your voice so soft hit me hard, a permanent impression on my heart. Oh, a press like vinyl. For the record, I replay every word. The table turns. Pressed like vinyl. Drowning out the silence, I keep spinning that song, 'cause my world revolves around you. Oh, and though your smell on this sure will fade away, these melodies hold memories as tightly as you once held me before you changed your key and locked me out of your life. You played me, never thought I'd need this player to save me. And it takes me back just like that. I hear your laugh echo in my head. Let me forget. Your voice so soft hit me hard, a permanent impression on my heart. Oh, just like vinyl. For the record, I replay every word. pressure on my heart. Oh, pressed like vinyl. For the record, I replay every word. Table turns, pressed like vinyl. Stick another penny on the vinyl.
Woo!
Thank you, thank you.
Nice. I've not heard that one.
It's going to be on my upcoming EP that I'm now recording in quarantine. So, it's going to be my upcoming EP called Vinyl.
Oh, the
like
EP is
you.
going to be called Vinyl. Oh,
No, I'm still playing with names on the EP. It's changed names a couple times. So hopefully by the end of this whole recording vocals and quarantine experience, I'll come up with something that just feels like, yes, that's the name.
That-
what do you think,
Great
Joe?
song. I love it. I love it. The inspiration is throughout the lyrics. You know, I replay every single word. It's like readers reading old authors, long dead, having conversations with long dead authors. In your case, uh, being inspired, being serenaded by past generations through through vinyl, through old record collections. They speak out to you across the generations, and you get that, and you can revitalize that artistry in current work. It's almost recycling of great ideas, and that's evident not just the story of your inspiration, but in the lyrics itself, obviously. So it's very good.
Thank you. Thank you. I love the idea of vinyl. Not that I have a record player that I'm allowed to use because my mom's like, don't wear out my records. But I love the idea, and I love that honestly, like a record is literally the closest thing to being able to touch music as we're ever gonna get. You know, like that's as tactile as it gets if you don't like play the instrument and you don't play the song. So I just like that idea of it.
Well, that you very brilliantly create an analogy. Now, I've literally not heard anybody do that analogy. It's the first time I've heard it. I've heard little references here and there, but you wrote an entire song about an interpersonal relationship and vinyl and the pressing, like hugging, the replaying over what someone has said over again in your head, all those connections with human connection told through a connection with vinyl is very clever.
Thank you. It's one of those songs where when I wrote it, I was like, all right, you can be clever, but never make it forced. So I really took my time on this to make sure, because again, I wanted every lyric to reference music and vinyl, but I never wanted to sacrifice an emotional impact. So it took me a long time to write the song, but I think it turned out well in the end.
I agree. And folks, can put in the comment your reviews and feedback. You're working on the album right now, right?
I am. It's the entire thing is recorded. It's actually an 8-song EP, and everything, like literally the day before we went into lockdown in California, I was in the studio finishing up guitars and we were going to start vocals. And then it was like, never mind, we're stuck in quarantine.
So you were stuck in quarantine in Richmond in the East Bay, and then you've gotten up to Portland.
Yeah, I got up to Oregon because honestly, I woke up in the morning and I have a text from my mom and she's like, is it true you're going into lockdown? And I was like, I don't even know. So I looked it up and sure enough, we're going into lockdown. And so I literally that day threw all my stuff in my car and drove home because I did not want to live in my little box.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about my buddy Stefan from Balanced Breakfast and how he was traveling. He lived in San Francisco, and he was traveling and got locked down for months on his friend's couch in New York City. And then about a month ago they lifted it enough so he could travel and fly, and he flew to his parents in Portland and is hanging tight there now. So I hear you.
I mean, this whole thing, it's really thrown a curveball in everyone's life, and everyone has just had to adjust. But as I've gone through this whole EP, it's a joke, but it's also now a great story. And I've always saying it took me 3 years, 2 studios, and 1 global pandemic to finish this thing.
Whatever motivates you and gets you focused.
Yeah, this is.
Georgann, if that's what it takes for you, I'm sorry, this is going to sound terrible, but I don't want you to do another album.
Maybe I'll learn something. Maybe we can get it down to, no more global pandemics at least.
Just maybe like a cold.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I was supposed to record vocals today. Wow, I can't even have a voice.
Sometimes a little antagonism, a little adversity is what it takes for inspiration. If only to fight against that adversity, to carry on, to persevere. That's why we're all here, as an example.
Yeah, no, it's true. Sometimes when things are going so well, like there's momentum in things going well, but also sometimes there's comfort in that, and you're not being creative and inspired. Or
don't have a sense of urgency.
Yeah, that too. It's amazing what a little, fire under you will do.
It becomes an opiate in a sense.
Yeah.
Now, you did a trailer is this about this album?
Yes. And so what I envision is, like I said, I've been doing this now for 3 years. And so I've been filming behind the scenes stuff the whole time. And since I've been in quarantine, I decided that I was going to make it into like a mini documentary series. And so the trailer was kind of like the first step in me going through all the footage and putting that together. And so the trailer, actually, the music behind it is a demo version of one of the songs on the EP.
Cool. Well, let's go ahead and play that now, and then we'll talk more about the album after we watch the trailer. And that was a nice intro. I clicked the button. It didn't start. Hey, I found the button. Here we go.
That was dated June 17th, 2017.
Jeez, good Lord. Let's finish this song already. And then, just not put it out. Just take a copy of it, bury it in the ground, and set it on fire. So much has happened since we started recording this song.
Isn't that exciting?
We're just chilling.
You almost don't want to finish it because then what happens to us?
We're going to be broadcasting. So the craziest thing happened. I'm a real human.
We are recording episode 1 of our YouTube series.
Can't come home right now. I'm not terrible. I look sick. I need to breathe. Alrighty, let's roll. I'm a bass player now. It won't be as spontaneous as you think.
Keep searching for something I found.
Here we go. Another day.
All right, that was the trailer for Road to Release. Now, you said Road to Release. I assumed that was the album title.
I mean, I love those double R sounds. That would honestly,
Row,
at this
row, row
point,
your
that's an
boat.
appropriate title.
What was that?
I said, honestly, at this point, it's an appropriate title, but
That's what I'm thinking.
it's definitely the title of my YouTube series that will be coming out. So.
All right, folks, you can vote in the comments. Do you want the album to be called Vinyl? Do you want it to be called Road to Release? I think Vinyl is so specific. That's a song. And then Road to Release is like the road to release an album, of which vinyl is one component.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're going to have a song called Songwriting, song called Drum Part, or whatever.
Drum, toms, very specific.
Tom's or what little xylophone you have?
Yeah. Fun story. Originally, when I first like met Ed and started on this journey, I was originally only going to produce a single, and that single was titled React, which is now part of the whole EP. And so in my head, I was like, cool, I'll make a documentary series called Road to React. And then that has morphed now into Road to Release. So it's been fun.
I like Road to Release much better than Road to React. Road to React is like your descent into being a hypersensitized person. Like, oh my God, you said this. You said this. I'm. It's like you went from being calm to being very agitated.
Like too much.
Yeah, I'd say you want to work the other way. You know,
Yeah, it's all part of the
calm,
journey.
release,
We're
relaxation.
always evolving. So that's now evolved. Who knows? Maybe by the time I'm done with this whole thing, I'll have the most killer title, and you'll be like, "How did you even come up with something so brilliant?"
The whole trailer reminded me of the video of Florence of the Machines, What the Water Gave Me. That video it's a great video for the song, but also for the creative process and whatnot. And that's what the trailer reminded me of.
Hmm. Yeah, it's literally like just behind the scenes stuff that I just so happened to catch. I love the idea of putting out a very like unfiltered version of yourself, like not posing anything up in the studio. Like I've broken so many phone screens because I'll literally just turn on the camera and set it up like leaning against something. And of course it falls, but that's how I filmed most of the things in the studio.
Cool, and I think that's what people want these days.
Definitely.
Slick productions have gone from being this rare thing that only if you have millions of dollars can you create, to where you can create pretty slick productions on your home laptop. You can get a Windows PC for like $500. A nice cam for $100, a ring light. I think it's $29 with the tripod, and you can create this high quality content. But what seems to be in short supply these days is authenticity.
Yes.
So,
yes. And I come from a school of thought. I trained with vocal coach Stephen Memel for years. And one of the things that he taught me, and I just think it's so true, is that people are attracted and appreciate forms of honest representation. They value authenticity. They value vulnerability. And I just think that couldn't be more true.
Even flaws.
Yeah, with my own vocal coach, I was having trouble in the early 90s where I was really hard on myself. And it wasn't the vocal coach, it was a friend of my sister's said, you need to watch this video. And he showed me this video of Smashing Pumpkins playing live. And the vocals were horrible. And it was a complete show. It wasn't like one song. And I was like, how could they be touring and have this massive audience with such horrible singing? And he said, but he's got emotion.
Yeah.
And that's what people are connecting to, his story and his emotion. So it's like it became a running joke amongst fans how bad the singing was, but they didn't care.
Yeah. The purpose of art is to make you feel something. Right? And if it doesn't affect you as an artist first, you cannot expect it to affect anyone else.
I hear you there. And I started off with choir singing, which was very technical. And when I started doing pop music, that was the first thing that tripped me up, is I was technically hitting all the right notes. I was saying the words right. I was making sure the semblance was just right and the plosives were just right, all that stuff. And then you listen back to the track and it would have no life. And to your point, you got to be feeling it when you sing it.
Yeah, I had the same problem when I first started out, because like my background in singing was musical theater. And so all of my vocal training and techniques were for that. And then that's actually what like Whiskey and Rye was a product of. And then there was just someone who was like, you're a good songwriter, but you need to change your singing and you need to sound more contemporary and you need to feel something, right? And so hence my journey to now. But yeah.
Cool. Well, let's hear some more of the songs off the new album, or soon to be released new album.
This is fun because sometimes when you're really comfortable with something, it's not very inspirational. And so I got in the habit of retuning my guitar in ways that I didn't know how to play, so that I had to relearn the instrument and find some inspiration in that. So this is my own made up tuning. It sounds like this. And I have three songs on the EP now written in this tuning. This song is called I Know That. And in this moment, hearts are racing. I know I should run. Run my fingers through your hair, my hands, and listen with your mind. Then you touch and feel the fantasy come alive. You kiss my shoulder and I feel your arms pull me in. You kiss my shoulder and I feel your arms pull me in. Kiss me softly, time moves slowly. Without knowing, now we're never meant to get it right, baby. I know that. All I know is that we've lost all control, baby. Now we're never meant to get it right, baby. I know that. Eyes are talking too much, they're giving me away. So everything I'm just scared to say. You and I were never meant to get it right, baby, but I know that. Kiss me softly, time moves slowly. Without knowing, now we're never meant to get it right, baby. I know that. All I know is now we've lost all control, baby. Now we're never meant to get it right, baby. I know that you love me. I know you whisper my name when you're talking in your sleep. It's even all you're gonna feel lying next to me. Put your mark on me in permanent ink. Can't take back. I know you whisper my name when you're talking in your sleep. It's even all you're gonna feel lying next to me. You made your mark on me in permanent ink. Can't take back. You know we're never meant to get it right, baby. I know that. Kiss me softly, time moves slowly. Without knowing, now we're never meant to get it right, baby. I know that. All I know is now we've lost all control, baby. Now we're never meant to get it right, baby. I know that you love me. I know you whisper my name when you're talking in your sleep. And everything is crashing down, but you still get to me. You made your mark on me in permanent ink. Can't take that. You love me. You love me. You love me.
Woo! Awesome.
Outstanding.
That's I know that.
The permanent ink line is, out of everything. Oh, okay, kiss me, boy, girl, damn it. But the write your name in permanent ink. That's really nice lyric.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now you talked about the tuning at the beginning. So that
Yeah.
was the first time doing a modified guitar tuning. That song.
Not for this song, actually another song on the EP was the first time, but yeah, I love the tuning so much because it just has it has its own unique sound. And so I use it now when I write songs sometimes.
And for folks that don't understand this, the guitar, every single string is a single note. And as you're going up the guitar, you're shifting those notes. Well, the capo that she has on there will shift the notes. But you can also just tune each string to a different note than the standard tuning. And you get different timbres, different sort of ranges in what you're playing. And so those are called alternate tunings. If you've not tried an alternate tuning, I highly recommend it. When I was first learning some guitar, I would say I'm still very much a beginner at guitar, but I wanted to do something. I just put it in open D and started using my one finger like a slide guitarist does, so I was at least able to play something and have that satisfaction. So if you're struggling with learning guitar, try alternate tunings. They can help.
It really sounds different, and because it sounds different, it can be very inspiring as a songwriter to work with that.
And different tunings can give different flavor, a slightly different emotion that you can get at versus a standard tuning.
It's really true. What's been fun is that, I was using this alternative tuning, and there was this one point in the studio where we had to put bass underneath it, and we're all standing there on recording day, and the bassist is like, "What chord are we playing?" And I'm standing here like, "I don't know." It's kind of a 4, but not really. So then we have Ed over on the piano trying to hit every single thing that I'm playing, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know what to call this," but he's like, Orion. We had Orion Salazar from Third Eye Blind play the bass on the EP, and he's over there trying to figure it out. So fun.
Yeah. If you are a traditional musician and all of a sudden you hit some alternate tuning, and you're like, well, these are the notes not to hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Any of these notes, hit any of these notes and you're playing and you'll be okay.
I'm like, anything else works. Anything else works, right?
Very cool.
They're like, "What is it?" I'm like, "I don't know." To me, I call it, a 4, because I just use the Nashville number system, and I'm like, after that, it's anyone's guess.
Now, when you say a 4, I'm going to get a little techie for folks. You mean like a sus4, like a sus chord?
Not
So
as
you have
not
the
like a
fourth?
sus4, if the song's in C and I say 4, I'm talking about the
F.
4th chord in the C scale.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
What would that be? F?
Yeah.
Yeah. So an F chord.
Is your next song in that same tuning, or?
Yeah, actually, my
All
next
right.
song is in
Let's
that
hear more of this particular tuning. And I just want to say one last thing before you get started is quite often with open tuning, if you're learning guitar, okay, that's where you start. You learn your E and stuff. So many people start there. There are so many songs that sound exactly like that. It's very hard to make something that doesn't. So again, I'm pitching alternate tunings today.
Hey, I'm a big fan too, so. So this song is titled Imaginary Lines. That little smile gives me from thinking straight. We've been friends for a while. It doesn't feel the same. Like a thief in the night, sneaking into my mind, stealing glances at him. I catch his eyes so blue. I know he's feeling it too. Oh, late at night, unwinds these imaginary lines. The feeling's right, unwinds these imaginary lines. Kisses my neck as if he could leave less. If he were to touch my lips, has me smiling again. Don't fall for this moment and foolishly fall for him. Like a thief in the night, sneaking into my mind, stealing glances at him. I catch his eyes so blue. I know he's feeling it these imaginary lines. The feeling's bright. Burn white these imaginary lines. Oh, midnight. Burn white these imaginary lines. The feeling's bright. Burn white these imaginary lines. Lines, lines, lines. Think twice before I think that it could be the one. Think twice before I think that it could be the one.
Woo! Now, I had a thought during the song. So what is your schedule on the project? We got some folks here. They're commenting in the comments saying, love the song. She's great. Well, this is
thank
your
you.
time to do a pitch.
I know. I wish I could actually say that there's an official release date, because it just keeps getting moved because of COVID. So I hope to get all the vocals done within the next 2 months. So where does that put us? The end of October, right? And then it goes to mixing and mastering. And I'm currently in contact with a marketing company to do an official release and promotion and all that. So I'm going to say around the holidays, like Thanksgiving. Because I've talked to people in the past and they're like, that's a good time to release. So let's say around Thanksgiving for now.
It's
if you
very-
follow me, Georgann Ireland, Instagram, Facebook. Instagram's honestly the best way to stay up to date with what I'm doing and my release. I'm really good about keeping people up to date actually with what I'm doing.
And that is George without the E, Ann, A-N-N, all one word, and then Ireland like the country.
Just like the country.
And I know it's always tricky with releases, and I'm sorry, I'm having a Twin Peaks moment. The backing lighting has decided to go into strobe mode, which I'm not entirely
I thought
sure
you were
why.
just vibing to my song.
It's just vibing, yeah. It's more like an electronic disco light going off with the folk song. Oh, so you're playing acoustically here, obviously just doing the singer-songwriter thing. So what is the style of the actual album?
It's high. How would I describe? I would say think alternative rock meets pop high production. So everything at its core is based in this acoustic singer-songwriter, right? An artist that I reference is the Goo Goo Dolls a lot for that alternative vibe. But then of course, when we work in the studio, we're always pairing drums with drum machines. We trigger them. So you have the acoustic drum that's treated with an 80s vibed out drum machine. I love my gated reverb. So it's very pop, not American pop. I'm going to say that pop sound that's coming out of Europe. So very the 1975 is an artist that I reference a lot. So that meets the Goo Goo Dolls. My
Okay.
best description. And I know that artists hate saying it's really something that's unique and it's its own. So I've worked very hard to try to find artists to tell people.
Yeah, I run into that all the time with my work. People are like, what are you like? I'm like, goth industrial folk
Perfect.
with country and a little bit of rock and a little bit of art.
Yeah, a little bit of art thrown in there. It's
know,
funny
it's
because
like-
all my songwriting training is in country music. That's where I started. So I can't help sometimes, but I'll write harmonies and people are like, that sounds country. And I'm like, well, that's me.
But that's great these days. Everybody's mixing it up. I mean, Old Town Road is, just if anybody was shocked when there's Run DMC and Aerosmith, I always forget because there was two different hip hop and metal bands that did
Walk This Way.
collaborations.
Walk This Way.
The Walk This Way.
Yeah.
I think that was the Aerosmith Run DMC. And
Yeah.
then I'm trying to think of who did the other ones. But, you know, that really shocked people because rock people, hip hop people in 1990 didn't listen to the same music and wear the same clothes. And as musicians, we're creative people. You know, I was listening to some electronic stuff that my wife was like, what is that sound the other day? And to me, it's all just music. So I don't really distinguish between genres. And I think that's so liberating that the public more and more is getting exposed to multiple genres in the exact same track. And Old Town Road was like the nail in the coffin of anybody saying one genre can't be, you know, that everything has to be separated. It was a great metaphor for segregation, actually. And so, yeah, let the person.
Old Town Road was a great song. It's been remixed like a dozen tames. They even had like RM from BTS, that Korean pop group that's like taking over the world. They even had him do a remix. So it's great. And you know, I always tell people, because people are like, you know, what kind of music do you like? And I always say, unfortunately, I've grown an appreciation for everything, which is like great for my own like listening pleasure, but really hard when you're trying to just be an artist. Because, you know, people like artists to be packaged like one way and they're like, this is you fit in a box. And I'm like, but I'm a human. And that's very hard.
Well,
The greatest musicians are not bound by genre. You'll find people like Charlie Parker, for example, who just had his 100th birthday, was listening to everything from doo-wop to Stravinsky. And this is true of a great many musicians, Louis Armstrong, for example. Even as contemporaries, people like Fishbone, they are not bound by a genre. It's bad that they're pigeonholed as one, but their musical tastes, as honest and sincere, enthusiastic musicians, know no boundaries in terms of genre. Their influences come from everywhere. It's like a well-balanced diet. It makes for healthy music, shall we say. And it's a wellspring that has no end. And all you have to do is be open-minded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely.
I like that. A well-balanced diet of music.
That's how it is. That was well put.
I just jumped in my head.
Joe is our resident philosopher and poet.
I'm picking up on that.
I
can explain.
He's like, I'll take it.
He watches, monitors, and if you haven't followed Joe's writings on Facebook on his personal page, you know, I think, Joe, you see it as, oh, I'm just writing my personal thing. But I was like, wow, he describes the San Francisco Bay Area in a way that I've not seen anywhere in literature, in film, anything. And yet I've lived those experiences and he's describing them. So make sure you follow Joe. One of Joe Price's. You have a couple different Joe Prices on Facebook. Which one's real?
Oh, the one with the close-up of me. I was with some friends of mine from a recent science fiction convention in San Francisco. I think the background has a couple of my club members. I'm vice president of Mad Dog MC, a motorcycle club out of Oakland, and that's probably the background one. That's me.
Cool. So look that up. Joe Price. It's not the one where he's looking down. It's a sideways shot with him with some leathers on with his motorcycle club. Hey, Georgann, we are coming to the end here, but we have another time for one more song. What do you think, folks? One more song? Maybe we'll fit two in. I don't know.
I'm ready.
You're ready? And you're picking up a different guitar, so you got a different tuning? No, that's the same guitar.
This one's normal.
Okay. So you know, for folks talking about guitars, they see people walk in, you got all these guitars on the wall. Like I have more guitars I reasonably play, but the argument you have is, oh, that one's tuned this way, that one's tuned this way.
Yeah.
that way I can buy another one.
I have three guitars. I have, you know, and honestly, they're all the exact same brand. They're all Eastman. I want to become an ambassador for Eastman. If they'll give me free guitars, that'd be great. But I have a 12 string, And then I have, you know, a grand auditorium with a cutout. And then I have this one, which is, you know, just a 6-string dreadnought. And they all have different sounds and different vibes. And it's great for when you play venues and you, like, I played a show one time. I did 3 songs in 3 different tunings. So thank goodness I had 3 guitars.
Yeah, it's a famous story of how Peter Gabriel got his start when he started the band Genesis in the 60s. How what evolved his performance art abilities was the fact that these guys were doing these crazy tunings in progressive rock in the 70s. So the guys would all be back there tuning these 12 strings, these odd tunings, and it was just dead air. So he started telling stories. And then he started wearing costumes. Then he came out in his wife's red dress, and it started creating this whole performance art layer to the early Genesis that it was all really because he was just covering because they didn't have enough guitars that they had to, because they were poor, they had to tune what they had. So
Yeah, they're not, they can't afford backup dancers and like roadies to do that for you.
yes, and you if watch closely, folks, if you haven't noticed, if you see a big band, you'll see a bunch of guitars behind the artist, and you'll see roadies running different guitars out. This is usually because they were in different tunings. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah. So, remember that song React I was telling you about? It's an upbeat pop song, but this is how it all started. This is like the origins. This connection feels electric. Let this charge light the spark. Ignite the fire and we'll run through it. Like the dark racing hearts. Feel the heat or just let love react. Magnetic emerald eyes shock yet attract. So just pull me closer, don't hold back. Let love react. Oh, giving in to sweet desire. Your tender lips turning me on. Turning me on. So hold on tight, I'm a live wire. You can't resist a power this strong, strong, strong. So turn it on. Feel the heat or just let love react. Magnetic emerald eyes shock yet attract. Just pull me closer, don't hold back. Let love react. Oh, oh, just react. So just react. Oh, just react. Feel the heat, oh, just let love react. Magnetic emerald eyes shock yet attract. So just pull me closer, don't hold back. Let love react.
Awesome. Woo!
An upbeat, fun song.
Well, you know, it's the whole range, right? Of connection.
Again, I'm a human. That's how we are.
Yeah.
We're multifaceted.
Absolutely. And the music reflects that, although statistically, most songs are love songs.
True. Strangely enough, most of my songs are upbeat songs. So
Upbeat.
upbeat. So hopefully I get more radio play. That's the hope.
Do you, when you say upbeat, do you mean in the narrative or in the
More in the
production?
sound, because honestly, I oftentimes will write songs that come from a place of heartbreak, and then I'm like, just kidding, it's a pop song now.
Boo, boo, I feel so sad, yeah. I feel so sad, yeah.
Basically, I'm like, this is about a boy who broke my heart. Let's go.
How does that work out? How do you have to change the lyrics? I mean,
No,
no, you
like,
just do it. Hey Ed, we're gonna do this dance club song, and it's a country ballad about a boy who broke my heart. Is that okay?
I kid you not, when we first did pre-pro day, like where we ran all my potential songs for the EP, when I ran all of them by him, the first thing out of his mouth when we were done, he goes, "Who hurt you?" Which is so funny because like at the studio, I'm known as like being like Miss Pop. Like they go to me when they want to write upbeat songs, and I'm like, look, if you look at the lyrics, no, but they do sound fun.
I'm gonna push you in the pool and drown you. Push
That'd
you
be
in the
good.
pool.
Let's co-write on that thought.
That's cool. The songs are they're very heartfelt, but at the same time, the delivery is lighthearted.
Yeah, it's fun to play with all the emotions that can exist within something that you wrote. Because even if someone breaks your heart, you're still left with the fond memories, and and there's a point where you're not bitter anymore. They're just fond, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that starts to come out.
There's an enlightenment there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And that's just all part of the process.
It's very inspiring for people, people growing up and they suffer any kind of setback and heartache, and they listen to your music, and it's a way that they see they can carry on, because there's hope, and there's love, and there's lightheartedness even through the troubled times. That seems to be evident in your music. No matter how bad, it can be better, and it can get better and better still, and just it feels good to listen to.
That is quite the compliment. Thank you. The most meaningful compliment that I can get from people is when they come up and they're like, I relate to that. I had this one person message me the other day, and I literally had just shared a song that was it came from a place of sadness and heartache. And this person messaged me and they were like, "Thank you for sharing. Your songs give me hope." And just to hear that meant so much, because it's like, whatever I'm writing to actually be able to affect people's lives, I can't really ask for anything more.
And I like to say to folks that as artists, we are expressing ourselves in our story, but if we don't make our work, if the work is just about me, you're not connecting, right?
It becomes meaningful when you know that it affects other people too.
Yeah.
But steeped in empathy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that we've all had a point in our lives where like, you hear another artist singing a song and you're like, they are talking about me. And it just resonates with you so much.
Almost like telepathy in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or you hear a song that you've known your whole life and you hear it seems like you're hearing it for the first time because now the lyrics have meaning to you, whatever situation you're in. And so I think sometimes people are like, you want to be an artist? That's a little self-centered, don't you think? Because like you're in the spotlight all the time. And I'm like, music affects everyone and everyone's lives. Like that is the best way to really touch people and potentially help them.
I've talked about Tori Amos in earlier episodes. Just one little statement that she made that has stuck with me from an interview, and she said, "Well, how it works is it's a wheel between me and the audience. It's not me, it's not the audience, it's the wheel. And the wheel sits in between us, and I put my energy into the wheel and my craft into the wheel, and it goes out to the audience, and the audience connects with that, and then it comes back to me, and it feeds me, and it goes back and feeds them. And it's that symbiosis that comes out of that wheel turning that is music."
Yeah, one cannot exist without the other.
Yeah, and you can play songs and in your own room and do your thing and have that enjoyment of playing music and creating music. And there is this deeper dimension. So when you talk about your lyrics and the music sort of having contrast or maybe even contradiction, that's interesting, because then you're not punching the person in the face from the moment one. This is a song about a breakup, right? You're like,
No.
hey, and someone gets on board and they go, oh, that's what she's talking about, and use that connection sometimes. It's all about opening doors.
I like the idea of having songs that can touch people in multiple ways. So, if you're just in the mood for fun, upbeat sounding things, I have it. And if you want to sit there in your room in the dark and listen to lyrics and just feel, then I have that too.
Very cool. That's what got me into Lady Gaga. At first, I'd seen some videos or something. I thought, just another pop star throwaway, whatever. Wanted me because it was the dance. I think it was Poker Face or something like that, or probably just dance. And then friends said, "Oh, no, she's a fantastic singer, songwriter, pianist. Listen to these recordings." And I'm like, wow, okay. So sometimes by having a variety in your work, some of your work might not touch, other parts of your work can touch. And then you have the, like Joe was saying, this range of diet. You're not just chewing on one thing. I don't know if I'm saying that very clearly, but
a well-balanced diet.
a well-balanced musical diet.
Well-balanced musical diet.
Well, Joe, you have some final thoughts here. We're up at 6:20, and at 6:30, I have to open up the line for a software training course, and the professor for that. I do want to show those two videos, but let me do a mystic moment, and then we'll come back and have a wrap-up chat. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in this week and listening to Georgann Ireland's music. Please do go out there and subscribe to her YouTube channel, follow her on Instagram, and when she hits 100 people on the YouTube channel, she'll be able to get her custom name up there and make sure no one else runs away with it. So this week's Mystic Moment is about being of service. How I met Georgann was because I met Ed. How did I meet Ed? Honestly, I'm kind of forgetting how I met Ed, but I'm sure it was through Balanced Breakfast. And how was I part of Balanced Breakfast? Running a chapter. Being of service to people opens doors and will bring connections to people otherwise you never would have met. This show, I hope, is of service not only to the artists who appear on it, but to the people who listen. I'm not doing the show just to play my songs out at you, yell at you, say, hey, here's my friends, listen to their music. The point of the show is for us to have connection in these challenging times, for us to expand the horizons of our thinking when the world is trying to shut those thoughts down. So as you go through this process and each mystic moment, take everything you've heard before this in the first 20 episodes and flip it on its head and say, how can I do that thing but be of service to other people? That's the mystic moment for the week. I want to thank Georgann and our ever-present poet, Joe Price. You have any final words, Joe?
Yes, I'm I'm wishing you well in Oregon and back in Richmond. I love, one of the things I love about your singing is it seems provincial to a lot of the venues. I've would listen to music in in Northern California, principally in Marin County, and even in San Francisco and Berkeley. So it's a provincial sound, but at the same time it's very universal how you speak to everyone, um, even at adversity through such a lighthearted medium as yourself, your voice and your playing. And so it's fantastic listening to you. And I'm wishing you well because well, having to relocate to Oregon when you were based in Richmond, um, I'm about just about a very few miles away where I'm located. So it's very inspiring, given your predicament of having to relocate. I hope everything works well. And it sounds like you're on the right track to everything. It's this kind of adversity that seems to have inspired you as an antagonist for inspiration and to carry forward. It looks like this is what you're doing, and it's very heartfelt to witness. And I for one am very appreciative.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate hearing that. Thank you.
Thank you again, Joe, for supporting the show every week, and Georgann for being on the show. It's talent like you being on the show that makes it. So I think we should all wave hi to everybody out there in chat land. We have a number of folks who are posting, and some new names that I think has come from Georgann's following, and I want to welcome them to the show. We are wrapping up, so I'm going to give us one last group wave with Georgann. And if you would like to find out more about me and my work, follow me on Facebook, Caleb Duarte. I also have 3 band projects. They are up on Bandcamp. You can find the latest demos, scratch pieces, things I've scraped off the floor, hits that are coming out soon at caleb.bandcamp.com, audioterrorist.bandcamp.com, crewblue.bandcamp.com, with the relative YouTube channels. While I want to thank you for watching today's episode, we are having a little brief after party in which we show a couple of Georgann's earlier videos, starting with Whiskey and Rye. So do hang out for another 5 minutes, and I'll get to show you those videos.
Crowds and noise, pick up lines, watching amber bottles reflecting light. The night comes alive, smoke in my eyes, handing me 4 roses, dancing around the edge of fire and glass. Chills me over ice, tantalizing eyes, like a choice. Savor the night, like whiskey and rye. Take a shot on the night, caught in the moment, his touch met mine. Tempts me to taste his kiss, spirit haunting his lips. I should have known his love would bite, like whiskey and rye. whiskey and a rye. Take a shot on the night. Touch like fire. Taste is just so haunting. The trust I should've known this love would bite. I should've known his love would bite. Like whiskey and a rye. Strange, this stranger seems no stranger to me. He's the rhythm my heart's beat. Unfamiliar yet right in time. Steady racing mind. Who is this stranger? Ooh, stranger. Ooh, stranger, how he mystifies, yet inspires this heart of mine. Leaves me wonderstruck, mesmerized, fills my mind. Ooh, stranger. Ooh, stranger. Strange new feeling, yet I recognize. Caught in the rapture, gazing in his eyes. Maze of emotion leads me into his arms. Yeah, yeah. Tangles me in his charms. Ooh, stranger. Ooh, stranger, how he mystifies, yet inspires this heart of mine. Leaves me wonderstruck, mesmerized, fills my mind. Ooh, stranger. Ooh, stranger. Drowning me, sinking force of passion. Breathe him in, is it a sin? In my vanishing world, he's my vision. Love me, stranger. Stranger. Stranger, love mystifies, yet inspires this heart of mine. Leaves me wonderstruck, mesmerized, fills my mind. Stranger. Stranger. Stranger, yeah. Leave me wonderstruck, mesmerized, fills my mind, yeah. Stranger. Ooh, stranger.
To fledgling mediums like this.
I